guys, welcome to what I am calling my TBR of shame. I'm going to be sharing a stack of books that I've owned for a long time. I've said I wanted to read for a long time, have been on TBRs, but I haven't finished. These are books that I want to read within the first half or so of 2024 because I don't think I've actually said it on this channel, but I had like an announcement over on my personal channel. We are actually going to be moving at some point in 2024, spring, summer, something like that. And I want to not move as many books as I have. Like, these are all unread. So this stack I'm going to be sharing today is my TBR pile of shame, books that I'm embarrassed that I still haven't read. And if I do not read these before we move, I'm just unhauling them. So the stakes are high. When making this list, this is what I was looking for. It was just books that have been on my shelf for a while. Is really, well, or books that I've been saying I'm going to read for a while. And most of them, I wouldn't be super disappointed if I didn't read. There's a couple exceptions to that, but these are going to go on a certain shelf. I'll make some space over there in my bookshelf. They're going to go on a certain shelf, and if they're not gone by probably about the end of May, I'm just going to get rid of them. So without further ado, let's get into these. Oh, and if you're paying attention to my TBR, no, that's not it, my vlogmas calendar at all, this video wasn't planned. Definitely, like I said when I originally posted my calendar, there's wiggle room because I change things up all the time. I am also going to be sharing a 2024 fiction TBR and a 2024 nonfiction TBR. Those will be coming yet, but this had to be done first. Okay, no particular order, variety of genres. Here we go. We've got The Testament by John Grisham. I remember Oshina talking about this book forever ago. This had slight beginnings of, I think, like the Westing game and or the inheritance games, right? Someone dies and something about their will. Yeah, I was intrigued, but like I've never been actually interested in picking it up when it comes down to reading. So there's that one. Then we have The Poison Study. This one I almost got rid of like once or twice. I think it was when I was judging books by their cover and their first sentence or paragraph. And it turns out this one was actually interesting to me. And then lots of people commented and said it actually is interesting. I think it's maybe historical fiction-esque. I don't know, but there actually had a lot of comments of people saying this book was actually good. But have I ever tried to pick it up? No. Okay, this one I feel like I will get to because I really do want to read this one. This is Little Men. I love Little Women, and I, for whatever reason, have never picked this one up. I'm assuming this is not an abridged version. If it is, that would be sad. It doesn't say it is. So I want to read more Louisa May Alcott. This is one I have on my shelf. So I would like to read that one. Then this one, in my defense, for some reason I put it upstairs on my read shelves. So I never actually think to pick it up to read it. But this is Eric Metaxas' 7 Men and 7 Women and the Secret of Their Greatness. And he wrote Bonhoeffer, which I own. And I have never made it through because I found it really boring. But this follows 7 men and then 7 women. Oh, Dietrich Bonhoeffer's in here. I should just read this 20 pages of him. And tells their stories in a condensed way. I can probably get through this much easier than Bonhoeffer. So, needs to get read or go. I own 2 books in this series. This is Stuart McLean's Stories from the Vinyl Cafe. This one is book 1. I don't know which number the other one I own is. And these are like, I think, humorous Canadian-ish stories. I don't know if they're, I think he's Canadian. I don't really know anything about it. I've picked them up in little free libraries. So yeah, if I don't try it, it's gotta go. Then we've got James Rubart's Book of Days. I actually have a couple of his books on my shelf that I haven't read, and so I just thought, I've had this one for a while, I need to give it a good go and get rid of it. Otherwise, this would be Christian suspense. Usually his are like kind of like supernatural suspense-esque. I did read the first chapter. I think it was in the summer. I think it was for a Patreon video. This one was just recently a couple of these I shared recently when I was unwrapping my books that I mistakenly wrapped. This is Helen Frost's Hidden. It's an accidental kidnapping leaves two girls grasping for answers. That actually sounds really good, and it's really short, and it's free verse. I don't know why I've never read it, other than like I've never heard anyone ever talk about it, so then without that buzz, I guess maybe it just seems less interesting. This book I've had for a very long time. Frederick Bachman's My Grandmother Sends Her Regards and Apologizes. I am 50-50 on his books. I like some, I don't like others, and I think this one will be a good one. So I just need to read it. His books, when I do like them, they're very hard-hitting and emotional. So this one involves a 7-year-old girl and her grandma. If it's anything like And Every Morning the Way Home Gets Longer and Longer, which it kind of gives me those vibes because I think that's a grandfather talking to his grandson, it's going to be a tearjerker. Then Nobody. This is Christian suspense, I think. Once again, I picked this up out of a little free library. Never heard anyone talk about this author or this book, so I haven't picked it up. This one, this is possibly the last book that I own from like almost 3 years ago maybe. I bought a mystery box from Christian Book, which I totally understand why they do this, but they obviously just put in books that they aren't selling. So it's a mystery box for like $10 or $20 of 10-ish books. But this one I still have. It's Eden Hill. This is by Bill Higgs. And I've actually heard good things about this. I think it's set in the 1960s. It kind of weirds me out that this is, so it's Christian historical fiction. It kind of weirds me out a little bit that it's written by a guy, because I feel like the cover and this particular general idea feels like it's always written by women. So I'd be curious to see the take that he takes on it. Like, yeah, I should just give it a try. Definitely not in a historical fiction mood right now though. This book I have not owned for very long, but I've owned 2 other books in the series for a while, and I keep saying I want to read it. Meant to read it this fall, never got to it. All Creatures Great and Small. I don't know, do I even need to describe this book? It's about a English veterinarian, and someone's at my door. Amazon, groceries, we're good to go. I don't know what I was saying. I think this will be like a really like sweet, slow, cozy kind of read. I think I'll like it, but I just don't pick it up. I don't know. Do you guys ever like struggle with being like conflicted in your reading, like wanting to read a book but also just not being in the mood? And like, am I ever gonna be in the mood? Okay, Song for a Whale. I heard great things, need to read it. I had it on my shelf forever, keep saying I'm going to read it, but I haven't. It's middle grade, about a deaf girl and a whale that somehow communicate, I think. Then we have The List. This is a middle grade dystopian where to make sure humans are able to survive, everyone in Ark must speak List, a language of only 500 words. Everyone that is except Letta. This totally sounds up my alley, but I haven't picked it up. Story of my life. Yeah, this is one of the most embarrassing books on this list. How many times has this been on a TBR? I've started to read it one time, got 10 pages in, bookmark's still in there. This gives me the like vibes of All Creatures Great and Small. So, except this one is set in the US somewhere, and I think it'll be great. I don't know. And the last one has been on my TBR shelf for a long time. This is Mapping the Bones by Jane Yolen. I have The Devil's Arithmetic on my winter TBR, also because like, there was a couple books on there that could have made it onto this pile of shame as well, because I've had them forever. I have read one of her YA historical fiction-esque books, that was Briar Rose, and I really didn't like it. But yes, she has great, like, I'm pretty sure she's the one that writes all that. Dinosaur Says Happy Birthday, like, she's got a lot of diversity in her writing. But yeah, read it or get rid of it. It is time. So, stack of books. Going to read them before we move, or else they're not coming with me. So let me know if there is a few books from here that like I should get to like ASAP, or also if there's some that I could just get rid of and I won't miss them. That would be helpful. Thanks for being here, guys. I'll be back again tomorrow.